Break 'em.
Speaking of youth movements, with the NBA draft is coming on Thursday. There's been a lot of trades, a lot of teams moving around, a lot of rumors out there. But in terms of just these young players coming out of the draft, I think the top three for most people are Fultz, Ball, and Jackson, and those are the guys I probably will be going 1, 2, and 3. Whoever has the number 3 pick, either way, I think all three of those guys will be not necessarily transcendent players like we said, like LeBron or Hakeem Olajuwon coming out. No, not those type of impact type of players coming out of college, but I think all three of them have really high ceilings and can be, potential all-stars for any team that gets drafted by. But outside of those three guys, who's the most intriguing player in this draft for you?
Yeah, outside of those three guys, I'm a really big fan of De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. He's gotten comparisons to John Wall. I think he's got a lot of great upside. You watched him play in the tournament. He completely locked down Lonzo Ball and dropped 39 on him. That was a great performance. He showed, flashes of potential all-star, maybe beyond all-star. But I think he's going to be a great player who just needs to work on creating that outside shot. And once he has that, I think he's going to be a great player.
Yeah, DeAndre Fox is definitely an intriguing player for me. Other guys are up there like Jason Tatum. I like Jason Tatum a little bit. I don't love Jason Tatum as much as other guys maybe like him. But a guy to look out for me is Lauri Markkanen from Arizona. We're talking about, Kristaps Porzingis and the trades situation, how the Knicks want Lauri Markkanen maybe to eventually replace or team up with Kristaps Porzingis. It's rare to find 7-footers with his shooting touch and, his mobility as a big man. So I think it's really intriguing, because a lot of people want to compare him to the next Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone's looking for the next Dirk Nowitzki and stuff. I wouldn't go that far. He's not going to be the next Dirk Nowitzki. I think we should stop trying to look for the next guy. There's only one Dirk Nowitzki.
There's only one Dirk.
Exactly. But, I think Lauri Markkanen could be, a really interesting player because, again, that combination of size, length, mobility, and that shooting touch, he's got one of the best shooting touches in this draft period for any position. So, he's got a lot of tools to play with, and depending on which team he goes, he could be, an all-star type of player, I think, and a steal for any team in the late lottery. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's definitely an intriguing player. What kind of scares me is we've seen players like him in the draft before where, Frank Kaminsky, he was a senior, but he was similar. He was long, he was tall, he had the outside touch, and, that's definitely what the NBA teams look for in today's day is you need that stretch 4, stretch 5.
Yeah.
And he's got the tools and everything that the scouts look for, but, sometimes they kind of struggle to put it into, production and playing time. And, I think can be definitely a good player, all-star, maybe. But
yeah, it depends on which team he goes to. And, if he goes to a team with the right coach and the right system, he gets the right playing time early, he could work out. He's got all the potential. But like you said, he could end up flaming out and just be another, one of those stretch 4, stretch 5 types that never quite reached their potential. But, I think, this is a point guard heavy draft. So, you get a big guy like him in the lottery, would be very intriguing, I think, for any team in the lottery, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, outside of maybe the lottery, who are some of the 3 sleepers you think in this NBA draft? Because this is a very deep draft. A lot of people are saying, a lot of people say that you can get maybe a high-impact role player as late as maybe early mid-second round maybe. There's a lot of talent in this draft.
Yeah, there's a ton of talent in this draft. I did my mock draft and I had projections, and some of these guys are going in the second round, up to the mid-second round.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of talent, and they can make a role on a team. This draft is pretty stacked. Some of my sleepers I have the point guard Frank Mason from Kansas. I think he's a great player. He was probably the best point guard in the college last year. He really added a 3-point shot. He averaged over 20 points a game. I really like his fiery toughness act he has. He drives to the rim relentlessly. He's not scared of anyone. He can finish over you for a point guard. He's very athletic. He's a very smart player. He played under Bill Self at Kansas. I like Frank Mason a lot, and he can also finish under the rim, pass the ball. He's a great point guard. And then
I like him as a backup point guard for sure. I like him in that role coming out because he kind of understands.
Maybe coming out.
Yeah,
he's got talent.
No, I can see that being a steal for some team looking for a good backup point guard late in the draft. I think.
Yeah.
So who's your second guy?
My second guy, I have Wesley Iwundu for Kansas State. I think this guy is a real diamond in the rough in the draft. He's a guy who, for the Kansas State squad, handled the ball most of the time for the offense. He's 6'7". He can pretty much play positions 1 through 4. He's very athletic. He's got that high basketball IQ. He's not the best at creating his own shot, but he likes to facilitate. He likes to attack the rim. He's a great, not a great three-point shooter, but it's definitely very respectable. And the only negative I'm seeing from him is he's kind of small for his height. He's kind of got to bulk up a little bit. But I see him as a great two-way player who can, control the ball in the NBA. I like him as a second-round talent. And then for my last guy, I have Josh Hart from Villanova. This guy, he's throughout his whole collegiate career stepped up when his team needed him the most. He's got a very respectable three-point shot. He's a scorer. He's aggressive. I kind of see him as being a strong sixth man or a role player on a good team. He's definitely got the talent, and he's also kind of going in late first round, early second round for his type of skill set. That's pretty impressive. Who do you have as your 3 sleeper?
I like Wesley Iwundu. I will say that. I think he'll be definitely a steal for a lot of teams. But my first steal, I have TJ Leaf from UCLA. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't have him mocked very high. I think in any other draft where it wasn't so deep with so much talent, he might be a lottery pick in a lot of drafts. Because you look at him, we talk about Mark Cannon as a stretch 4, stretch 5 type. He's kind of that same type of player where he's not as tall as Mark Cannon, maybe doesn't have quite the touch, but he's athletic for a big guy his size. He can really shoot, and he played really well along with Lonzo Ball at UCLA. A lot of the credit for UCLA's resurgence went to Lonzo Ball, and rightly so, because Lonzo Ball was amazing last year and really was the spark plug for turning that program around. But TJ Leaf was just as big of a part of that program as Lonzo Ball, and he can be a guy who can maybe. I think he can be a double-double type of stretch forward because he can rebound too at a pretty high level. So I like him as a sleeper for a team to make the late teens, early 20s, type of pick.
Yeah.
And my second guy is Justin Patton from Creighton. This was a guy that was mocked to go in the lottery early on in the year, and then as the years gone by, he's kind of slowly gone down a lot of draft boards. So I don't know if that's because their point guard got injured and a lot of his production went down as the year went on. But you look at him, he's 7 feet tall, he's athletic, he can shoot the mid-range shot, he's got a lot of skill, a lot of raw skill on offense. He's got to get coached up. He's kind of, like I said, he's raw. He's got to get coached up a bit. May need some time to kind of come off the bench early on and just kind of work on his fundamentals and stuff like that because he's kind of a newcomer to the game, from my understanding. But he's got all the tools you look for in a modern big because he's big, he's athletic, he's long, he can block shots, he can run the floor a little bit, he can shoot the mid-range jumper, he's got a little bit of a post-up game. So I think, a lot of teams, again, in that late teens, early 20 spot, he can be a real steal for any team in that area. And my last steal is Jared Allen from Texas. I mean, we're talking about modern-day shot-blocking athletic bigs. He fits that bill perfectly. He's maybe not – he probably won't be as good as maybe the next Rudy Gobert or DeAndre Jordan, but he's that similar type of player where he's tall, he's long, he's super athletic, and I think he can make a big difference as a shot blocker, rebounder type. Early on he'll probably come off the bench and be an energy spark plug, in that role, but I think eventually he could become a starter for a team depending on what team he goes to. And, a lot of teams, a lot of mock drafts have him as a mid-20s type of guy. So I think he'd be a steal in that area.
Yeah, I like TJ Leaf a lot. I think he's a good player. He's a good sleeper. He's not really getting the attention that he might deserve just because of how loaded this class is. But you watched him and Lonzo really run the pick and roll.
Yeah.
And that was just for UCLA last year. No, he's definitely a guy that'll translate straight to the NBA. He'll be a guy you can run the pick and pop with, pick and roll. He's great at doing both. I see Justin Patton. I agree with you. He's very athletic. He's a little raw, but you develop him. He's got a lot of upside. And I like Jarrett Allen. He is tall and athletic. The only problem is for his center. He's very skinny.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to have to bulk up. He needs to be able to bang with the NBA big boys.
Yeah, and that stuff can happen with time, but I agree. He's going to have to bulk up if he's going to have any success at the next level. So we talked about some sleepers, who are some guys that are maybe overhyped and might go a little bit higher than they should, or maybe, they might slip down a bit, surprisingly, you think?
Yeah, for my first overhyped guy, I got Caleb Swanigan in there. I've kind of been seeing his name pop up in the lottery / mid-first round, and he's definitely a good big, but I kind of watched the tape, and I don't know, I'm watching him, and his style of play doesn't necessarily fit typical big man in the NBA. He's not super athletic. He's a smart player, but his weight, his size, it might make it harder for him to defend at the NBA level. I think we'll see how that goes. My other guy, this is kind of a shocker, but I got Lonzo Ball. I think he's a great player.
Prospect.
Overhyped. Yeah, his dad's overhyping him. Saying he's already better than Yeah, but I mean, I heard at the Lakers workout that he kind of struggled and he didn't look good. And then the second time he did better. And, he doesn't have the stop and go, quick acceleration burst, that most NBA athletes have. He's more of a facilitator than a scorer. He did have a respectable 3-point jump shot, even though it was pretty funky.
It's unorthodox, to be fair, to be kind. I will say, I will defend Lonzo Ball here. His dad has overhyped him too much. That is for sure. The guy LeVar Ball will overtalk anybody. But when I look at Lonzo Ball, I see, I don't know if he will be as good as Jason Kidd. It's too early to predict that. But I see a guy has a lot of Jason Kidd type of qualities. A big, long point guard. He's the best passer to come out of the draft in at least a decade, in my opinion, and what I've heard from other scouts. He's a fantastic passer. And you're right. He's not the explosive athlete or the explosive scorer that a lot of teams look for in a top pick. But if you're looking for a guy who can immediately change the culture of your offense and the way you play basketball, he's a perfect guy to have. And he's going to have some defensive struggles, I think, especially early on because again, he's not the most explosive athlete out there. But I think he's a game changer for any team that drafts him. He'll be perfect with the Lakers because Magic Johnson's trying to recreate that Showtime Lakers basketball. And, again, I don't think he's overhyped from the standpoint that his dad needs to, just shut up, for now and just let Lonzo do the talking, let his game do the talking for now. And, with the workout thing, how much of that stuff is smoke screen by the Lakers, because, there's a lot of reports coming out for all these teams out there trying to
there is
the team. So, and again, Lonzo Ball, we said he's not a great scorer. He's not a great explosive athlete, even though he is a good athlete for sure. He's a good athlete. He's definitely worthy of a top 3 pick. It's just that, I don't think his game translates to a 1-on-0 workout because he's more of a passer. His game, his style of play translates to more of you. You know how good he is watching him 5-on-5.
For a top 3 pick. I'm kind of expecting to at least put on a show. Show off your skills, your athleticism, this is when you get to put those highlights out there. And Lonzo Ball, he's just not really that type of player.
He puts on the show.
Maybe
5-on-5 game. That's where he puts on his show. He puts on the show during game time. That's when he puts on the show. But again, this is all can be. We're going to see. We'll see.
Whatever team drafts Lonzo, they're gonna have to deal with LeVar.
Yeah,
so.
that's the other problem. Well, hopefully he focuses more on his own.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. So who's your third?
My last guy I have. Yeah, for my third guy, I got Luke Kennard. Now he's been getting rave reviews about how he's a guy that can be a catch and shoot, move him off screens. He's got a 3-point shot. He adds spacing to the floor. But, I've also heard that about Doug McDermott, and you hear about Jimmer Fredette, guys like that where they're kind of one-dimensional, not the greatest of athletes, and they're going to be thrown into the NBA. I think he can have like a J.J. Redick type role, but I don't see him much higher than that. His defense is very below average, and he needs to work on that. And, I think a lot of people got him going top 10. We'll see how he turns out.
Yeah, I like Luke Kennard. I think he'll be a good role player in the NBA, but to go lottery top 10, no way. I just don't see that type of player.
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's not very long. He's not athletic, really. He can handle the ball and run the pick and roll for you a little bit at the next level. He's not a one-on-one scorer, though. He will be a really good shooter at the next level. That is going to translate for sure. So I liked him. I'd like him in like a late teens, early 20s type of guy. They come in as a role player for you, but not as high as not a lottery pick. Again, I like Luke.
Yeah, I've been seeing lottery picks, and he's definitely a first-round talent, and I agree. I'd put him somewhere, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah. So for my overhyped prospects, my first one is Terrence Ferguson. Played internationally instead of going to college. And, you look at him physically and the way he shoots the ball, his mechanics and stuff, and you say, wow, yeah, this guy would be a surefire top 5 pick with his athleticism, length, and his shooting ability. But even, overseas on a shorter 3-point distance, his 3-point percentage was not very good at all. He just didn't seem to put it all together internationally against, probably weaker competition compared to maybe the elite teams in college. Not to take anything away from any of those professional players out there. They're all good players and stuff, but when we're talking about college basketball in major Division I sports, it's kind of like basically, a tune-up for the NBA for a lot of guys with all the one-and-dones and stuff. And, he wasn't going against any of that top competition, and he just didn't impress at all overseas.
Yeah, that's a guy that they've been throwing around as first-round talent. I haven't really heard much from him since he's an international player.
Yeah, I've heard that he might be late lottery pick. I don't know. I like him as like a late, in the 20s type of pick where you can take a flyer on a guy as a project or something. And, if he doesn't pan out, then, it's a late 20s pick in the 20s in the first round. You're not going to lose your job over that or anything, because most of those guys are either just role players or something like that. So I roll the dice, late in the draft like that in the first round, but not as a lottery pick, I don't think. But, I wouldn't be surprised if some team, drafts him based off his potential in the lottery.
Yeah, they could draft and stash as well.
Yeah, another guy that I think is overhyped is Harry Giles. This is a guy who's the number 1 high school recruit coming out, and he's had a lot of knee injuries. And, over the past few years, I think 3 major knee injuries, which is, it's really unfortunate because you watch some of his high school tape, some of his highlights, and the guy does have explosive athleticism as a 6'11" power forward center type of player. But, he just when he played at Duke, he didn't impress really at all, didn't really play a lot. And, some team's going to overdraft him, I feel like, in the first round based off his potential as a number 1 high school recruit. But I just don't know if I'd take him in the first round because he didn't prove anything at Duke at all. Didn't look as explosive as his high school days. And I think his days as a really good prospect are over with. What do you think?
Yeah, 3 knee surgeries in like about 3 years is a lot, but I'm not ready to count them down yet. Around the same time last year, we heard a similar story about a guy named Marquise Chris out of Kentucky, a
Yeah,
guy that was a highly touted
out
prospect
of
coming out of
Washington.
high school, underperformed at the college level, but he had the athleticism and the upside, and he decided to go to the draft, and he ended up doing really well. I see Harry Giles as a guy that teams are going to say, wow, well, that worked out for the Suns. I can see them trying to take a risk. He was the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Obviously, he's very athletic when healthy, and he's got a lot of talent. He did struggle to put it together at Duke, but you see the potential there. And for those teams who are like in the late teens, early 20s, to see a prospect like that who could be a superstar if he stays healthy, I think that's why it's pretty enticing for them to try to go and get him.
Yeah, the thing with Marquise Chris was he has a really good jump shot too as a big guy. So I mean, even if the athleticism doesn't exactly pop at the next level, he could still be valuable as a stretch 4 or 5 at the next level. While Harry Giles, he doesn't really have any offensive skill set to speak of as of now. He's more of just a rebounder, shot blocker guy. And coming off of the 3 knee surgeries, who knows whether the athleticism will, be still there to be good in that role. So, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So my third overhyped prospect is Frank Ntilikina. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. He's from France, point guard. I've seen him be really high up as a lottery, maybe going up to like the Knicks at 8 as a point guard or the Sacramento Kings at 10. And, I watched some film on this guy, and I don't see it. I feel like he could maybe be a good backup point guard, maybe someday. But he doesn't have really explosive athleticism or quick twitch. As a first step or anything, doesn't really have good handle on the ball. He's raw running the point. He's got good size for the position at 6'5", good length. So those are some things I like about him. But he's very much a long-term project. So I don't know if I draft him as high as a lottery pick as some guys have him.
Yeah, I've also seen the Mavericks at #9.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban went out and got a visit with him, and it's kind of unfair for me to comment too much on him because I haven't seen too much game film.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting with the college international players, like which route is the better way to go, and you kind of see like these international players who are ranked in the lottery, but for their team only averaged like 5 points a game. Not eye-popping numbers that think, wow, I think I should draft him in the lottery. He did do well in the big tournament for his team, averaging over 22 points. He played pretty well. So I guess that's where people are seeing the upside. But as a top 15 pick, I don't know. That's a risk.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk, and yeah, and especially in a draft this deep in talent with so many great point guards, like even Dennis Smith out of North Carolina.
Yeah, you got Dennis Smith Jr. You have, I have him ranked higher than Frank.
Yeah, and even Malik Monk can become as a point guard because he's kind of got like that point guard size at 6'3". Because Malik Monk could eventually play the role of like a Lou Williams, where he's kind of an undersized combo guard off the bench. That's where I see Malik Monk as most effective. But I don't know. I mean, Nick, Frank, however you pronounce his name. I mean, no disrespect to him. It's a tough name to pronounce, but yeah, I just feel like he's a little bit overhyped at this point. And there's some tantalizing things talent-wise with his size and length at the point guard position. But it's again, I haven't seen too much game film with him. I've seen a few scouting reports on him, a few highlight videos, and I wasn't very impressed. And but he could very well be a really good player. It remains to be seen. All these guys have potential, and are all worthy of first round picks probably. So it's just some of them are kind of getting. I think some of them might go a little bit higher than I think they should. I think though. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's all we really have to cover here for the NBA draft. A lot of stuff moving around. Some things could change as the draft comes up. Teams are willing and dealing at this point. So there's definitely a lot of exciting things to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting what happens Thursday.
Yeah, I can't wait. You gonna be able to see the draft all the way out there?
Yeah, we'll be in the car.
All right. Yeah. I mean, whew, I mean, Boston's got a lot of interesting things to go with. I've been hearing that the Kings might move around with 2 lottery picks. The Knicks, you never know what they're going to do. A lot of superstars could be moving. Yeah, I can't wait. This NBA draft should be a lot of fun. So, again, thanks for watching the show, guys. We had a lot of fun talking about some of the trades that are going on, some of the prospects, and once the draft is over, we'll have a draft review out there for you guys, and we'll let you know how we saw the draft.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about. Thank you guys for watching.